you, Shamina, for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
Absolutely, same here. On Globalization 4.0, since that's the key agenda for WEF 19, how do you kind of link that back to the role you play at MasterCard?
Sure. So, we're experiencing change at the very high rates. And as the world gets closer, but at the same time also gets more polarized, it's very important to make sure that multinational, multi-sector organizations maintain the connection across borders. And so I think that for us, because MasterCard is in 200 countries, it's a global network, it's really important that we maintain a connection across the world, and that means between countries, between governments, between companies. And so making sure that for us, being here and being part of this conversation ensures that the conversations still happen across the world.
You kind of touched upon AI as a theme that you picked up.
Right.
What are your thoughts on human-machine harmony coming for the next decade? I mean, what's the focus at MasterCard, and what's your personal opinion on that?
So I steal shamelessly from the board chair who sort of thinks about artificial intelligence as augmented innovation. And so he often says that you really can't take humanity out of that equation. So even as the speed increases, the creativity and the innovation is profoundly human. And so I think that's sort of the bridge.
How do you think diversity is going to play a role, in the next coming 10 years, especially from, the inclusive growth perspective?
The original remit that we started with was to make sure that even as we committed to a world of financial inclusion, so MasterCard committed to bringing 500 million people into the formal economy by 2020, the idea is that we can't stop there. We want a growth that's economically powerful but inclusive, meaning that the benefits of growing economies are shared by everyone. So when we talk about inclusive growth, we mean long-term, equitable, and sustainable economic growth for everyone. And so that's been our approach to, as we see technology, as we see AI, machine learning, things like that, making sure that, for example, women and girls are at the source of the genesis of the coding and the building of the algorithms, so that as these things start to perpetuate over and over and over again, we have to build in diversity at the source. And being conscious of that and intentional about that is something that I think about a lot.
How are you leveraging technology, currently for your agenda, for inclusive growth agenda at MasterCard?
Technology is a game changer for poorest of the poor, and so what we're trying to do is make sure that the benefits that the middle and upper incomes experience is also experienced by everybody. And so, just for example, we have, in India, we're working with farmers. We've launched something called the MasterCard Farmers Network. And it allows small shareholder farmers to stay on the land instead of having to travel long distances to take their produce to market. And this is important for women because a lot of women are farming on the land. And so to have to leave the land and take the products usually requires several intermediaries, middlemen, to go. We've created a very interesting technology that allows market distributors in the cities or in even the larger villages to put a call out for produce to the farmers and say, by phone, by a simple phone, we need these many potatoes, these many tomatoes, these many, and then the farmers answer the call digitally. So it's no longer do they have to get in the cart, go 2 days to take their produce to market. They say, no, we're filling an order, and now the market distributors send out somebody to pick it up. So the time it saves and the efficiencies that even that technology brings is enormous. That's just one example of a technology that's transforming the ability to take produce to market. And there are many more.
In terms of skill development, we're kind of seeing a lot of demand for some of these new skills, whether it's AI, whether it's machine learning. What are your thoughts in terms of skills that would be required in the coming decade?
People hire for hard skills, but they fire for soft skills. And so I think that what that means And how we interpret that is you not only have to have the IQ, for sure, but you have to have the EQ and the DQ. And so emotional intelligence, for sure, but decency quotient is something that is fundamental. And so as we think about not only staying competitive, but recruiting and retaining the best and the brightest, it really has to have those three components. And so that's what we offer to our colleagues, but also what we bring in and what we value. And so that means growth for the long term. So making sure that we're focused like a laser on the work that we're doing, but we're also a purpose-driven company. And so we bring all of those aspects together.
Thank you so much, and look forward to our conversation again.
Thank you
Shamina.
very much.